Hi, I'm Dan Chambers, the founder of Chambers Law Firm. This is the first part in a subset of videos I'm going to be doing about a new law in California that's going to go into effect on January 1st of 2019. It's called SB-1437, and it's one of the most dramatic changes California has ever seen concerning the law of murder, specifically what is called felony murder. In this particular video, I'm going to describe for you how the landscape is going to change for first-degree felony murder in California. And I'm going to go by way of an example so it makes it easy for you to understand how the law is going to change. Under the current felony murder rule, and I'm going to give you an example of a liquor store robbery or a gas station, and 3 people are involved. One person has a gun, the second person is there to watch the door, and the third person is the classic getaway driver. The 2 people go into the store, and during the course of that robbery, the teller or the clerk resists and is killed during the course of that robbery. The 2 people then run back to the car and the driver drives them away to a place of safety. Now they all go go to trial on a felony murder theory. So the driver of that car, under current law, could be sentenced to first-degree felony murder and serve a 25 to life sentence based on his involvement as a driver. Now, a lot of people in Sacramento looked at that situation and felt that it wasn't fair, given the involvement of the other 2 people, that the driver should get the same sentence. And that was why SB 1437 was discussed in the first place, to change that. So under the new law, how things are going to look different after January 1st, is that that same driver will now be eligible to petition the court to be resentenced and get a sentence far less than 25 to life. Because under the new felony murder rules, there are only 3 times that a person can be convicted of first-degree felony murder. Number 1, if the person is the actual killer. That seems pretty obvious, but in my example, the person with the gun that shoots the clerk is not going to be eligible for resentencing. The second type is if you aid and abet, you give help in the course of the robbery, and in that help, you also intend to kill. Let me give you an example of that. The 2 people go in the liquor store. One of them has a gun. The person without the gun grabs the clerk and holds them while the other person shoots the person dead. The court, in that instance, would say that second person aided and abetted and also intended to kill because they grabbed the person and resisted to keep them from leaving. So under SB 1437, again, not going to be eligible. Now, the third example is a very complicated legal doctrine, but it's called a major participant in the crime who acts with reckless indifference. Those are terms of art. There are lots of cases that interpret them, and frankly, it's beyond the scope of this video to talk about what facts might exist in a case that would make that person ineligible under that third step. But let's go back to my getaway driver. In that scenario, he will now be able to petition the court and say, I wasn't the actual killer. I didn't aid and abet with intent to kill. I simply thought my other 2 crimies were going to commit a robbery. I had no idea that this was going to happen and someone would get killed. That person, under the new law, can petition for resentencing and actually would stand a very good chance of having it granted and would be released from custody. So that's how felony murder is going to look so much different after January 1st. Courts are now going to have to look at the conduct of each person. Before, it was one size fits all. If you're in for the robbery, you're in for the murder. That's all been turned upside down by SB 1437. Now, each participant's conduct will be separately evaluated to determine whether they intended to kill or took other actions that showed that they had a conscious disregard for human life. I hope this video is helpful. It's a very, very complicated statute. If you have any questions about whether you or a loved one qualify, please call our office. We're up to date on the statute. We're up to date on all of the relevant case law to help you determine whether or not this can help you. Please call us if you have any questions. Thank you.